Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eye Opener Society, and I'm pretty excited about doing this episode. So let me lay it out for you. There's been a peace walk. Okay, there's been monks that walked from Texas to D.C. just to spread peace. Now, it's something that touched me, amazing, because I seen all the videos. Um, you can follow them on Facebook, Instagram. It's everywhere. Just look for monk peace walk. And some of these things, I've always been interested in monks, Buddhism. It's so powerful and it engages me so deeply because when you see peace for what it really is, it's overwhelming emotionally, even for me. It cheered me up watching some of these videos because that's what's so powerful. The action of just walking in peace is more powerful than waving flags, protesting, rioting, destroying things to get your voice heard. Sometimes you don't need your voice, you just need peace. So this has been playing on now for the last couple of weeks with me. The world should be ready for peace worldwide, not just from Texas to DC, worldwide. This is a start. We need to start understanding more about peace so we could start living it. Now, on that note, let's get out there and let's get extremely shocking. You guys, the audience, I know, open mind here at Eye Opener Society, we need to be open minded as well. Unedited, raw, that's the way we are. Listen, if you've never heard the term medbed, you may be hearing about it. Probably not going to be on mainstream news or anything like that. Let's just take, for example, there is technology where, much like Star Trek, and all these things where there is medical equipment that can heal, not just a cold or a flu, rebuild limbs, organs, maybe help those paralyzed to walk again. So let's just think that actually exists. What would that mean for world peace? Would technology like that be controlled by governments, pharmaceuticals, hospitals, medical insurance? Would it be withheld from people who cannot afford it? I think this conversation is going to all kind of apply in together. And I'm only talking about this med bed because I fall down rabbit holes all the time. That's my life, my path. Every path I ever walk, I fall into rabbit holes. Supposedly, this technology exists. It's there. It's not from this world. However, we have access to it. And stuff like that is always going to be withheld from us because, again, not all of us are worthy, according to some people. So, if you don't see her, it's because, again, we're having bandwidth issues. But Lizzie joins us today. Lizzie, you're in the background, but at least you're here. How are you, buddy?
Good. I'm just good. I'm so excited to talk about this topic. I think that these two just tie in so beautifully because you're right. Peace is something we talk about all the time. It's just kind of almost overplayed. But when you really get into what peace is, it's all about a deep sense of calmness, community, loved, just like at ease. Don't even know what that is. And that's why a lot of people maybe are upset about like what is this peace walk gonna do because they have like their own perception of how to bring peace. But how you go about doing something can't get peace from destroying things. You're bringing that frequency, that emotion in such a destructive way that only works to destroy what's happening. It doesn't work to like rebuild anything. And this peace walk, and my big deal, I'm gonna walk this ridiculous length of time for the world forward across the country. Do you know what I mean? And so I think that that's way more powerful than being destructive.
So, yeah, this peace walk, it's more than just about walking across a country and when you look at this sometimes like monks themselves, some of them are wearing modern day shoes and all, but there's some that are completely hardcore and they're going basically barefoot. That again, it's the whole visual of it is what's so amazing because just the visual of it is inspiring so much peace. The way they interact with people and all, some of the chanting that they do, it's eh, it's phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. I can't even use words to describe it because again, that's what this is about. We don't have to. If you took peace, world peace, and you had it in your like a physical, tangible thing in your hand and presented it, that's what this is like to me. So, which will bring us then, I guess, to this next thing. Like, how do we actually achieve world peace? And do you have ideas, Lizzie?
Well, I think I have a million. One of them, I think the walk that they're doing is a great way to do it. It's a great way to start conversation and get people thinking about different ways to go about it and what people really want. And I think to tie this back into what you're talking about, the advancement of technology and the way that things tend to be held from us. And I mean, we know this to be true. Everything that like the government gives out, it's all stuff that they've been studying 10, 20 years and they only release it because like you're like they have to after so many amount of time, right? And so we know that there's stuff there. And then that we in theory, because of what people have released, there's a whole lot more than what they are releasing. And so it's like it's all conspiracy theory, but it all, if you watch it, it does seem to be, in my opinion, true that they have a lot of technology that they're just not really sharing with us. And I think it comes down to capitalism. But to tie this back into world peace, really, for somebody to be at peace, they have to have all of their resources met. They have to have everything that they need and they have and rest and feel productive and feel like they're doing something with their life. All of these things are like human nature, more or less, to different degrees depending on a person. But when you start taking those away, when people don't know if they can make rent, they don't know how they're going to feed their family next month, all of these things, no matter how much you're like harnessing this internal emotion in your body, it's hard. And I think capitalism runs off of the fact that everybody is so stressed trying to find this peace. If they can just make enough money, if they can just buy enough things, if they can just purchase enough convenience, they'll have this peace. And so then when this new technology is presented as, look, if you make this money, if you buy this insurance, you can now have this level of peace. It tricks everybody into thinking if they just work harder, they'll then have peace. See, humanity's growing, they're falling behind because they're not accessing enough money. But it's all just kind of loaded. And if everybody just took it, like, okay, so technology, let's say that that just comes out. And that becomes a thing where it's in every hospital. You just like apply, you go in for your therapy session, government funded, whatever, however you guys want to like work the details, right? But that if people, okay, I got my tooth pulled earlier this year. Just my toothache made me like an irrationally grumpy person. Don't talk to me about your bad mood, okay? Like I don't want to hear it right now. Like I can only imagine the people who have like chronic long-term pain. Do you know what I mean? Where all day they feel like that and they're trying to work, they're trying to be kind, they're trying to spiritually grow. No, put them in a bed so that they can heal and regrow whatever it is, rebalance whatever it is, and they can go out into the world. And what's going to happen is they're going to give something back into the world. And we get all caught up into money. And that's why I think people say the root of all evil is money, is because it focuses you on, well, what is this worth? What do I have to, like, what does this cost? How much do I have to get in order to give this? But if people just loved each other, that this technology would come out whether the government wanted to or not. You know what I mean? There would be people building things in their basement if they weren't working 60 hours a week just to put food on the table.
It's all very interesting what you're saying. Now, this ties a lot into our last episode that we did with your aura coil and what you had just mentioned about us being able to create things in our own basement. Why not come up with our own inventions, our own technologies? We also have that gift of meditation, self healing, energies and frequencies. Once we're tuned into it, we can heal ourselves. And like you say, yeah, the problem is we're too busy trying to make that living. And it's taken away all of that
Mm.
time. It's taken away all of that mental strength that you would have to put into that to do meaningless stuff, all in the name of money and paying bills. But say this really is, and again, I always, like I say, when it comes to conspiracy theories, to me, it's like truth because I find that I completely believe that this technology does exist, just from what I heard and the people I heard speaking of it. Again, theory or just conspiracy theory. We don't know, but if it's to that level, and let's just say it's not, there is technology. It's called trickle down technology. We always have something bigger in the background that's being worked on. It's tested, researched, and developed, and it's all behind closed doors with black budgets and everything else. It gets to a certain point that during the whole research and development process, they find other things they could use it for and let it trickle down. Usually it goes right to the military tests it, military uses it, and then it comes down to civilian use. No different than Gore-Tex, stuff that we, wear some of our clothes are made out of, and all. That came from research and development, military and all, and then it comes trickle down technology right to the lowly people that are basically us that are struggling to make a living. But we don't get to see that bigger picture, that larger level. And Lizzie, what you said too, yeah, how does this tie into world peace? Well, if there's a dividing line, we got them, we got us, we have all this technology that's being withheld from us, or it's being abused through whether it be capitalism, money making, or whatever the case may be. Where is the dividing line? Who comes in to actually change that, to merge everybody up, to be on one frequency, a higher frequency of love? Is it humans or is it some other race from somewhere else? Who's withholding what? If the technology came from another race, from another world, and they're interacting with us on a higher government secret level, where are the ones that are going to take away that line and combine us in the name of world peace? Does that make any
That
sense?
that makes a lot of sense, and I strongly, strongly, strongly believe that it is us. You see, that trickle down thing with technology, that's how money works, that's how joy works, right? Like that's how they've tricked us into all of this works. And because that's how we think it works, it obviously does. And we see it, it's reflected in our reality in what, politics and the economy and everything is doing. And I just lost my train of thought because I was so excited and then your video glitched.
Sorry. Well,
Oh, I just lost my thought. Sorry. I can hear everybody outside. I'm just a little ADD here in the moment. Okay. Okay. Anyways, so the thing is if somebody has figured it out in the collective field, which means if somebody figures out this little like equation, right? Somebody on the other side of the planet, if they're working with the same energies, they can also see this equation, even if or any information has been changed in the 3D world. Everything that exists in the collective exists in the collective. You can copy off of it. That's why you can see a video of somebody and they have like this vibe, and you almost like kind of carry a little piece of that with you when you go on, because everything you see is an opportunity. And that's just what you're seeing in the 3D world. And as you meditate, you in tune with your intuition and everything, you can see the different layers and the different dimensional aspects. And when you get to the collective, it's all just kind of there. And so the thing is it trickles down because the government knows this. And so the government has people, this is what I believe, they have people who actually are trained on how to go into the collective and feel out what other people are pondering. Those guys who should be working in their basement, but are actually just like working a bunch of hours at work, doing something monotonous, their ideas are now being, quote, harnessed by the government to come up with stuff because it's sitting in the collective. Anything they manage to do in their basement now further anchors it into the collective and it can be added on. But the thing is if the government can do that, then we can do that also. Because the thing is they're only finding people who are trained that way. Other people can train themselves that way.
I
And so
I
that's my opinion. If you want world peace, like everybody's just gotta like view it a little bit bigger, share the information that they're finding, and everybody's just gotta kind of come together and decide the trickle down thing just doesn't fucking work.
yeah, you're absolutely right. No, it don't, and there's so many paths I could take off of this conversation and go down so many different rabbit holes. I could probably have a 3, 4 hour show. But key things here, a takeaway from what you just said. Yes, we can work in our own basements, come up with our own ideas, develop our own technology, do stuff. Because, like you said, you're right. There's actually programs. Like I said, that's another rabbit hole can go down. This counterintelligence almost where they're in tune with the collective as well. So they already know what's going on. But yes, we can fight it. Because I think I mentioned this, whether it was in a TikTok or maybe another show that I did. Once we break away from all of that, start blocking out that technology. I wish I had a little bit more on this. I forgot the name of the company. But apparently there's a cell phone that has been developed that is completely private. It doesn't connect to the internet the way it normally does. It doesn't go to Google services. It doesn't have any of that. It only connects, grabs what it needs, and brings it back. And I'll have to get the link for it. But what I like about that, with the owner of this company, when he developed this, was to stop the spying. It's not just to stop the ads that pop up all the time, but it's actual spying. When we have people that can develop stuff like this, that's when we start winning. If we shut them out, like if we actually close the doors so that the government or the black ops or whatever don't come in and it doesn't interfere with anything, we start to win. And all those little wins start to add up and we become more peaceful because we're not under stress. We're not under anxiety. We're not worried about being spied on. We're not worried about where our next meal is coming from. We can all help. There's a different way. We don't need money. We didn't have money at some point. There was always trading, bartering. We learned how to capitalize on all of that. No matter what it is, everybody's got their hands in your pockets and they just suck you dry, but they like to keep you alive long enough that they can keep sucking out more. Again, all rabbit holes that we can go down on other shows, but when it comes ultimately to peace, the monks don't live like we all do, like with the 9 to 5 jobs. When you are in solitude and you have that group whether they're and forgive me, I don't know too much about it, but, like, if they're in monasteries, they're all living off of each other. There's no outside influence on them. They're doing what they do peacefully, quietly. They're not hungry for money. There's no capitalism involved in this. It's a way of living. And once you live like that, you're achieving peace. And then to be able to spread that out across the world, that's where we start to win. What are your thoughts, Lizzie?
I wholeheartedly agree. My only thing is okay, so I think what the monks are doing and the way that they live is so important because they're separating, they're anchoring a frequency, and I don't know if this is how all of them work, but to my knowledge, a lot of them will actually like they eat what the towns around them give. Like they'll actually like walk through the town and people will come out and give some of their food to the monks and it's like a blessing, it's an exchange of energy. And the monks do this as, like, representing something, right? They're representing something very beautiful, and I think it's great, but it also, implies a lot of self-sacrifice. This is what I was talking about in tone. Like, if you go without in order to prove a point, then the tone of proving your point is your willingness to go without. And so I think that this is so important to explore, and the people who are doing different things like this, it's so important. But I also think that that as a collective, we should explore how exactly we want to go about peace. Do we want to go without because we're willing to block out the government? Like, because there's a lot of people who just won't have phones, right? Because this technology, like, I'd never heard of that before. That's really cool. I'm excited that's coming out. But some people just won't use the phone, you know what I mean? Because they wanna block out that technology. Well, now they're at a loss because so much of what we do is reliant on the phone. And so it's like, I think collectively, there's so many ways we can go about world peace. But I think it's in the intention and the tone and how we do it is gonna really decide what kind of world we build when this all kinda crumbles.
Yeah, and I guess just to add to that a little bit, I think most of us are all worried about losing our identity because our egos get in the way a lot. And what we ask is to change a complete way of living. Some people have used capitalism, have used technology and all just to identify themselves with something.
Mm.
Most toys, I have the fastest car, I have the biggest house. Your intentions are what drive this. I mean, I always say you could be a millionaire and be the most peaceful, loving person. It's intention. It's how we go about doing these things. But we identify a lot. We're stupid cell phones, we have to be attached to them all the time. We don't have to. This is the unlearning process that I think needs to come down. And it doesn't have to be so suddenly. We shouldn't strip everything away. Slow steps. This way we start learning on our own so our bodies, our frequencies start to change. And when we start feeling better, we keep doing more. That's my opinion. I think that's the way it needs to go.
I think that was beautiful.
Appreciate it. I think this episode was actually kinda beautiful too. I know it's something we discussed, off air before we went on, and we were trying to decide, well, should we talk about peace or should we talk about the medbed alien stuff? It's amazing when you can merge stuff like that together, you see a much bigger picture form. And whether it's
Yeah.
your opinion or my opinion or whatever anybody's opinion out there, I think we all have some idea on how to achieve world peace. And the more we talk about that, and the more we start sharing these thoughts, opinions, ideas, theories, the more I think we could start getting on the path of actually achieving it.
Yeah, exactly. I just think people just need to go for it and quit deciding we gotta wait for the government to be overthrown or wait for insurances to do this or whatever. People just gotta decide what they are capable of doing and how they wanna do it and start doing it. And we're all just gonna learn and grow And every time somebody does that, it just leads to one more person doing that as well.
It's very true. And I thank you again for this beautiful conversation. I thank you, the audience, for tuning in and listening to this as well. It all ties in. There is so much when it comes to that bigger picture, because when it focuses down to just me, just Lizzie, it's a small piece. Everybody has their ideas. And when we talk about the entire world, that's a huge picture. And so much is hidden from us that it's time we start thinking as individuals and we start waking up to this and we start to do things peacefully. And I think we'll have a much better chance at achieving world peace, which is the end goal. So I thank you all for tuning in again to Eye Opener Society. Thank you. I want to also thank Carly and Carla from Appalachian Rootworks, Rooted in Ruins, located in Cynthiana, Kentucky. Don't forget to check out their podcast on Podbean as well, Without a Candle. And when you go searching through the episodes, not only do we have Eye Opener Society, we have Ann Lund's Haunted and Waiting, Sunset Child's Out There podcast, which I'm still holding my breath for an episode. I had The Sound Within. And don't forget, just check out all the wonderful people that are out there, part of this collective. There's going to be more coming. The more Lizzie and I start sharing some ideas, we can start getting some new stuff out. So thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you again. And don't forget to check out my Wednesday night guided meditations. Thank you for joining Lizzie and I. We will wish you well.